Just everything. He kicks out of everything. USA. It just goes on forever. She points at Yokozuna across the ring, crosses his neck, and then points at the casket. And it sends Yokozuna back. It's really strong as a visual image, actually. It's great. I'd hate for Jerry the King Lawler to put his hands down his crotch and then slap me in the face.
A bit of a Randy Orton thing.
It is a bit of a Randy Orton thing these days, yeah, absolutely. But he does some writers.
Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast. My name is Dom,
and I am Ant.
We should do some Dom and Ant facts at some point.
Cool. Well, if we get asked a question, which you can go over to Facebook and ask for Dom and Ant facts, we can give you some facts.
We'll do like a rundown, like mid 2000s era Matt Hardy. I don't know if anybody ever remembers, like the Mattitude era, and he used to have like facts. You probably missed all this.
Yeah, no. I have seen it.
Matt facts.
Because there's one Matt fact which doesn't start Matt fact. It says something like his favourite book is, and he went mental about it.
Really?
Yeah. There we go. See, I know Matt facts. So today we are looking at Survivor Series 1994 from November the 23rd in San Antonio, Texas.
Indeed.
Very Texas feel to this pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's over the top.
Yeah.
Loud. Not that I've got a problem with Texans. I know a few good Texans, but very over the top, very loud. I built this one up we were saying before we started recording, this one is particularly special in my memory, is one that stands out for me watching it when I was a kid.
A young man.
And I remember getting so emotional about Bret Hart and Bob Backlund in particular, but we'll talk about that in a minute. This pay-per-view is not as I remember it being.
No, it's not, man. I remember saying to you, and he was like, no, that was a great moment. I was like, yeah, but it's actually, and it's a weird one to go back, and I don't think it's bad, but we'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Number one film at the time, taking you back to 1994, was It Could Happen to You, an Ellie Nicolas Cage film. Never seen it.
There you go.
There we go.
His
Ellie Nicolas Cage stuff was pretty good.
Nicolas Cage stuff in general is just amazing.
Are you joking?
I love Nicolas Cage.
The Bees.
I love Nicolas Cage.
That was Wicker Man.
Across the board.
UK number one single was Let Me Be a Fantasy. Yeah.
How's that? That's a brilliant tune. Let me be a fantasy. I don't know the rest of it.
It's awful.
I loved it.
It's like a club. I've never listened to it outside of like a nightclub. I sat down and listened to it and went, wow.
It's the kind of thing you put on your... You have it at school discos or not school? Yeah. Actually, don't know.
How many school discos have you been to recently?
Well, none recently. But, the school dances and stuff. Yeah, when you're a kid, I remember it like being played. Like same with like Cotton Eye Joe. Remember,
Cotton Eye Joe,
classic,
like Saturday night.
Lee Baker, Mambo Number 5.
I think that was a bit later, but no, it's good. So we start off the pay-per-view seeing each of the teams strategizing. An interesting little video segment. I quite enjoyed this. Michael says his team should follow the lead of the Heartbreak Kid. Razor says they need to take out Daddy Cool. Lex Luger says to his team, there are some things you can't put a price on. In his feud with the $1 Million Corporation.
Clever.
DiBiase tells his
cleverest
team...
thing Lex Luger's ever said.
It's all about the money. And power lies in the dollar.
You do look a bit like...
DiBiase?
No, you could not like DiBiase, but you could pull off a serious like wrestling villainous manager.
Awesome.
Almost like a Paul Heyman. I'm not saying you look like Paul Heyman, but you've got a similar, like, devious, like...
Dude, you want to hear a story, right? I was in bed last night and I was shattered.
Thinking about Paul Heyman.
No, seriously. And my partner said to me something... we was doing voices in bed, because sometimes we do voices in bed, and...
is that a thing? Wow.
It's just a thing.
There's an Anthony fact for you right there.
So she says, do Paul Heyman. Well, I start doing Paul Bearer, don't I? Like you've got a wrestling podcast. As well, yeah.
I don't know how to do. How did you Paul Heyman?
Paul Heyman. I tried and it was just awful.
You can only do the My name is Paul Heyman. No.
I did Paul Bearer, and she said it was more like Paul Stanley.
I like you,
from
Paul
Kiss.
Bearer. I like you, but I've never listened to Paul Stanley.
You've never listened? He sounds like Mickey Mouse.
I love Kiss. But in fact, no, wait, who am I kidding? I was saying that for the spirit of the conversation. I hate Kiss.
I love Kiss, man.
Overrated. Just
Kiss
like
rock.
Guns N' Roses, and just like Metallica.
Oh,
That's
Metallica
right.
Great.
That's right, lads.
Dude.
You're watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling podcast.
And if
you
not, why
suck.
not? Dude, Metallica are awesome.
Overrated.
Doink. It's Giggles with his little men. I think we're going to refer to them as little clowns during this pay-per-view.
This is so terrible.
And say something inaudible. I really don't like this Doink very much. It's the very, very first Doink. And Jerry King, the King Lawler, tells his little kings...
Sleazy,
not
cheesy,
to embarrass them.
queasy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They have named. They sound like they've named them after the Seven Dwarfs, don't they?
Well, that's
the idea, I guess. The graphics roll and it's Western themed, obviously due to it being shown in Texas.
I love that actually. I thought that was really cool back in
at the start of a PS1 game. We get introduced to our cowboy commentators, Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon, both wearing Stetsons and the Teddy Boy chain things.
Gorilla looks suitably not impressed.
Who did?
I like Gorilla Monsoon. I feel,
He was like wearing almost like a sheriffy type outfit, almost like a jumper with like loads of his pattern on. Vince McMahon just looked silly.
He probably thought again. His way of thinking is very dated, and I imagine he thought it was a great idea, and he thought he looked great.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Just like he likes smooth jazz, doesn't he, in real life?
It's smooth.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like he plays the saxophone in that old music video as well, doesn't he? Yeah,
really?
there's a video. I think it's Hogan. We covered it in the podcast ages ago, and he's like playing a saxophone. In it. Yeah,
I just feel
hilarious.
I just feel like I feel like we should have some smooth jazz.
That'll be what puts an end to Elias's push.
When he fires someone, I feel like he just goes afterwards. This is after the you're fired. He's like he shuts the door, takes a deep breath. It's time for some smooth jazz.
Probably. So the first match is the Teamsters: Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, Owen Hart, Shawn Michaels versus the 1, 2, 3 Kid, British Bulldog, Fatu, Razor Ramon, and Sion.
Weird. This is a weird head shrinker. Just very strange.
Him?
I don't recognise him at all.
Well, he is a returning act with a brand new gimmick, and when I say the act, you'll know who it was. It was Barbarian, who we'd last seen in the '92 Rumble before heading to WCW. He sided with Cactus Jack a lot when he was in WCW, and Samu was injured at the time, so he stepped in to help the head shrinkers.
Very cool.
Facts. So into the match. This is a real heel team. Every one of them were hated due to the recent feuds, and when the heels make it into the ring, we have pyro fountains on the ring post, as well as 2 pyros placed into Shawn Michaels' jacket. That was pretty neat. It was like a Rammstein concert in early WWF.
Showmanship.
It was great. It was great. It was cleverly done. I liked it. What a shootout this is going to be, says Gorilla. Nothing like a Texas reference, the Cowboy State. As we normally see in these early Survivor Series pay-per-views, and I have no idea why, but it always seems like the first match is a little bit more thought out than everything else, and it contains what is the most logical feud. So we've had Head Shrinkers losing recently to Michaels and Diesel. We've had Razor and Michaels, Owen and Neidhart, and Bulldog all together. The 1, 2, 3 Kid teaming with Ramon, and then both of them being against Jarrett. So there's a lot of really
it was
interesting dynamics.
Given how subpar the match was, except for the ending, this promised quite a lot. I mean, I enjoyed certain individuals' performances more than others. Like the Bulldog, I thought really shone through.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So it starts off with a 1, 2, 3 Kid against Owen, but quickly turns into Neidhart running the ropes, showing the Kid trying to get the advantage at the time. But it doesn't last as a clothesline takes him out before JJ gets in. Some really nice spots between the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Jeff Jarrett. They'd obviously been working a lot of shows together. We've seen them in pay-per-views, haven't we? But obviously a lot of house shows. And they've got some nice little segments that happens. But then 1, 2, 3 tags Sion, who slams Double J before a rake to the eyes. What a heel. What a heel. Jeff Jarrett tags Owen, who wants Bulldog. Gimme Bulldog. And Sion tags him in. An awesome matchup, man. I mean, Owen and Bulldog, that's awesome.
The chemistry between
great.
both of them.
Really good.
Like, really good. And also, I mean, obviously Neidhart as well. Do you know what I mean?
But what really impressed me is how much agility Bulldog used. Like, I normally associate Bulldog with a powerhouse.
He was always so agile.
Well, he was like flipping over. Do you know where they do the arm segment?
He was always really good with the clotheslines. If you clothesline Bulldog, obviously if Bulldog clotheslines, you usually span round because of his strength. But if you clothesline Bulldog, he'd go as well. He'd do it, you know?
No, that's great. I just associate him with a powerhouse, but he was really athletic, you know.
I remember when he passed away, and he'd come back, and he was involved in the European title scene and the hardcore title scene. He had the jeans and the big boots. He looked like a legit badass. Real shame because he could have been the first British-born.
Yeah, I think he probably would have been if he carried on. Yeah, Bulldog slingshots Owen into the corner where he gets pummeled by all the faces. It's quite a fun little moment, and Owen oversells the heck out of it. Anvil gets in and they double clothesline Bulldog, so the faces are on the back burner. But when trying to clothesline again, Bulldog obviously gets them and knocks them down. Fatu then delivers a headbutt from the top rope, and he is selling something in the boot, but I didn't really get what all that was about at all. Because it never even played into the match.
Yeah, there's some weird moments, and WWE does this a lot right now at this time, that things that just kind of don't make sense. I feel like they were stopped. I feel like obviously you had Vince out there, but I feel like there's some people in these ears, some people communicating stuff, and
by the ref probably,
spots are being changed and things a lot. Because this is very much a transitional period between what we've been seeing, for attacking the microphone, from what we've been seeing to what we're about to start seeing in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And I think they were really working on the matches.
Oh, by the way, it gets really bad. This year's been quite a good year. You've had WrestleMania 10, you've had a good King of the Ring, you've had SummerSlam that was good. The pay-per-views in 1995 are really hard to get through, man. And that's when WCW was taking over, man. Yeah, because they didn't embrace the reality of it and went cartoony at the time.
Yeah, very much a transitional period for sure.
Razor gets in to face Jeff Jarrett, who keeps getting on top of the exchanges with Razor before getting a clothesline over the top rope. Ramon wants Diesel. Crowd get excited about that. It's quite cool. 1, 2, 3 Kid gets a tag, and Ramon suplexes him backwards onto Jeff Jarrett to try and get the pin. Owen then gets the pin against Fatu, or Rikishi, who starts... He was dancing around a lot in this. You could really see that this head shrinker's first sort of face run was a lot of the basis of where Rikishi comes from, and that sort of dancing after doing punches and stuff. It was interesting to see, man.
I mean, again, I have so much time for the head shrinkers at this point, and as a face team, I've said it before.
I agree. I don't think I did agree before. Yeah, I don't think I did agree, but this was actually a much better.
They were just a much more fascinating and fantastic team, in my opinion.
They disappeared very quickly. Kevin Nash comes in and delivers a jackknife to the massive Fatu for the pin. Impressive, man, to get Fatu, the Rikishi, up on his shoulders like that with relative ease was impressive. Then the 1, 2, 3 Kid comes in against Diesel. He goes for a roll-up on Diesel from the top rope, like the sunset flip, But Diesel easily picks him up and throws him back to the mat. He gets a jackknife and pins the 1, 2, 3 Kid with 1 foot on him. Yeah. Again, this is we've seen it a few times before. This selling of Diesel made Kevin Nash's career.
Very much so.
So I don't think he does anything spectacular.
There's not any particular.
They sold him really well.
Yeah, there's not any particular moves that he does or he's ever done really that have had, great effect in terms of making a crowd go.
Yeah,
except for his size. He's a bit like a John Cena type guy. He has 5 moves of doom.
Yeah.
The sidewalk slam.
But they really sold it, and because they sold it, he became a massive star and still around today.
Of course.
Sion comes in and takes on... Is that what you say? It's Sion.
I think so. I think we'll call... Yeah, we'll Sion.
He comes in to take on Diesel. And again, another quick jackknife allows him to get the pin. The jackknife was so powerful, man.
Bulldog. Best powerbomb in my opinion, in terms of the way that he does it and holds it slightly, even better than the last ride by the Undertaker. I think.
I like the last ride.
In terms of impact, making a move look devastating.
I think the last ride for me is that extra lift. Oh
yeah, the lift.
That's what I really like about it. But yeah, I think the jackknife is being sold massive. Bulldog comes in against Big Daddy Cool, and after Bulldog is sent outside the ring, Razor comes in as Michaels and Diesel are arguing. The ref starts counting, even though Razor clearly wasn't the legal fella. I didn't understand what was going on. And although we're told later that it's because Bulldog's been counted out, so Bulldog is out of the match, which leaves Razor against all 5 heels. So first, it's Razor against Diesel. Again, Michaels and Diesel are having this whole thing during the match where Michaels is trying to instruct Diesel what to do, telling him to get the jackknife on him, which he seems to be getting frustrated with. We sort of see the breakup happening here. After a scoop slam to Diesel, Razor calls for the Razor's Edge, but he can't hit it. He ends up getting a backflip off. Michaels is flying around the ring, making a massive fuss, and he hadn't even been in the ring, Michaels, in this match. His kids, and he knows how to steal the show. He really does, man. And he, again, tells Diesel to jackknife. Diesel does the jackknife, and then Michaels calls for the tag. He wants to
hit the super kick.
So he instructs Kevin Nash to pick up Diesel. He picks up Diesel, and we get the same spot that we've seen at SummerSlam earlier on this year. So, again, Razor gets out of the way, Diesel gets hit. It's a great image, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very iconic for the rest of the relationship, really.
Yeah.
Diesel, of course, goes after Michaels.
Yeah.
Gets angry, and then the rest of the team try and stop him.
Yeah, and we get a first turn, basically. Yeah. So everyone else is battling Kevin Nash. Everyone is he's hitting everyone to try and get to Michaels. JJ, Owen and Neidhart all go up the ramp with them. As they come back into the ring, all of the heels are counted out.
I mean,
playful. Yeah, but I mean, did it need like maybe the 2 or 3 of them, maybe? But it still would have been nice to have seen Razor sort of get a win.
Have a real finish,
Yeah, even if it was against JJ, that would have been fine. Weekend in, but I thought the match was okay. There was enough story in there. I wrote a lot of notes. Sorry, dude.
It's alright, it's good.
I need to shorten these down.
It's nice.
It's hard when you're doing Survivor Series matches, and part of the problem is I don't want to
eliminations and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss an elimination, so I'm writing stuff as I'm sort of watching. Like, yeah.
Definitely gets intense.
So they follow Michaels as he has his bags and he jumps in his car. Diesel is nothing without Michaels and he's done with him, so he leaves. Diesel's on a hotline. You can speak to Diesel if you call this premium number and talk to him on a hotline, because that's what Diesel wanted to do after this vicious feud. Wanted to talk to the fans.
Wrestling.
Call the premium rate number.
I remember doing it a few times for like not necessarily for
pre-recorded
WWE,
things,
but like for competitions you'd see on TV. And
yeah. But this was where you speak. Yeah. Well, you wouldn't speak to them.
There wasn't a UK version.
No, because obviously the UK, when these pay-per-views were happening,
Sky Sports at the time. They were on Sky
Sports.
But
they were still at 1-2 in the morning. I mean, there was no chance we was there, man. No. Diesel is on the hotline. I've said this. The Royal Family, the next match. That's Jerry Lawler with Cheesy, Queasy, and Sleazy. Which one are you most like? Cheesy, Queasy, or Sleazy?
They did the Winky. Did they have?
That's Clowns Are Us has Doink, Dink, Pink, and Wink.
Wink, Wink, Pink. Wow. Cheesy.
It's gonna be a fun match to talk about.
Cheesy, Queasy, yeah. Oh man.
Right, so this is one of these matches. You talk about the Backlund match. This is one of them matches that I remember fondly. And
really?
I remember.
I think I thought this was ridiculous back in the day.
Did you? No, I was way more immature than you apparently, and I thought it was great.
That's the truth.
And I think that, and watching it back, I quite enjoy bits of it.
There's certain the Burger King thing, with the Burger
Jerry
King
Lawler, man. He was. This was a type of match that was all about Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, I've never had a lot of time for him.
But he was good in something like this,
or as a commentator, to be fair.
For his sort of humility, in the ring, I think that really works in this. He really makes a joke of himself, and I quite enjoy that. And I think there are elements of this match that are okay, and it's a bit of light entertainment. Not all wrestling has to be serious, and that's fine.
Agreed.
I'd like some wrestling in my pay-per-views, but yeah, one of the King's little men was as hairy as Anthony. Did you notice that?
You are very hairy.
He was a very hairy little king. I
imagine a mini version of you would be like
terrifying.
A tiny yeti.
You're like a little version of me.
Just basically beard.
Like the dude from Addams Family with the hair.
Yeah. That's just you.
The red Doink man, he looked like a mini-it. That was freaky.
Yeah.
That was freaky with his red hair. You were watching New It, will you? Have you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I actually quite liked it.
Really? I thought you'd be Dom.
I'm super scared.
Super scared of
I'm
stuff.
Super scared of it, and I jump all the time. I jumped all them. But you know what? I've never seen all of the original.
I prefer the new one. I really like the new one. I thought it was great.
I think Skarsgård is great.
Cool.
Is it Skarsgård? Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was cool though. It was great.
Really good. Anyway, yeah.
So it starts off with Doink versus King. These two stay in the match for quite a while. King is overselling everything, to be honest, and this was King's classic sort of comedy beating routine, and I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was really, really good at that role.
Mm-hmm.
Doink has him in an arm lock on the mat, and as he's laying down, the three clowns all run over the King, stepping on his belly to taunt the three kings. Then they do the same, but obviously they stand on Jerry the King Lawler. He gets frustrated because they've done it, and it's again taunting. It's okay, a little comedy, you know. It's okay. It's a funny spot. Then King has Doink in an arm lock on the mat, and whilst the three kings are instructed by Lawler to run over Doink, as they've just done to him, they do this, but then end up all collapsing in the ground and tripping up over him. Chance of Burger King in the crowd were great. So then the next spot, because this is very much like a comedy spot match, the next spot has Doink slam Lawler and instructs the little clowns to pin Lawler. Obviously the ref didn't count, but I think Doink was counting the pins, and he throws the little people away straight away, you know, throws them across the ring. And then he does the same to Doink with the three kings, so gets them to pin him. I think he passes the first on to Jerry the King Lawler, and he just sort of tosses him aside, and he just like collapses in a heap, which is funny in itself. Then the second one that gets thrown just like ends up pinning him, basically.
Yeah,
it was a good little spot, you know.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler takes it well as well.
He does.
He grabs it, he takes him, and then falls.
Yeah. Doink gets Lawler down, and Dink places a Burger King crown on his head.
My favourite spot of the match.
It was awesome product placement for Burger King. I mean, every WWF show is going to have Burger King hats, and the audience would do it because all you had to do is buy a Happy Meal. Yeah. You know, easy. I'm glad they don't do it these days with Snickers, though.
They did it with the KFC, didn't they?
They have done, yeah. I quite like that, actually. That's really good.
Dolph Ziggler and
Shawn Michaels. Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Wow.
The Miz. Yeah, I quite like it. I think that's actually quite... It's not too bad.
It's not as bad.
Yeah, and they're not actually putting it in matches as well, which is that's a big thing.
Yeah.
So then Dink jumps on top of Lawler's shoulders, and while Dink is dancing around, Dink is going, let me at him. So we've got a little clown on top of a big clown, which is, comedy, haha. Obviously Lawler tries it with one of the kings to try and match Doink, and the king gets on his shoulders and he face plants the floor, both him and the king. It's quite good.
Yeah.
Jerry Lawler reaches down his pants to charge up his finishing fist of doom. Take out that foreign object. What foreign object? He had nothing in his hands, dude, except a handful of pubic hairs.
He does this quite a lot. Like it's always this thing too, and he makes a big. He always does this sort of bark. It's just really like.
Before putting it down, I'd hate for Jerry the King Lawler to put his hands down his crotch. And then slap me in the face.
Bit of a Randy Orton thing.
It is a bit of a Randy Orton thing these days, yeah, absolutely. What he does to writers. Very good. Lawler goes to Irish Whip Doink into the three little kings who all have their feet on the rope, but he ends up hitting them himself because Doink reverses it. After Doink goes for the crossbody, Jerry follows through into a pin. What? Doink's gone, so now it's Jerry the King Lawler with the three kings and the three little clowns. That sounds awful. Queasy versus Dink now. We get a little bum bite in, and then a bite on Lawler's bum and that sort of thing. Then Cheesy comes in against Pink, who holds Cheesy's beard whilst Dink delivers an axe handle. This is just... Wink clearly comes in.
Just trying to imagine the planning of this match.
Right, so Wink goes over here, Pink goes over here, and then we want Dink to come up here, and yeah. Wink comes in, but quickly gets pinned.
The only thing I can think of,
holds him against a corner.
I can think of that would bring that similar vibe in recent times would have been the Wii LC match.
LC?
Yeah, they did a Wii LC match with 3MB.
Oh, right, yeah, you've mentioned this before. I've not seen it. But were they called Doink, Dink, Wink, Pink, Link, Rink, and Sink?
No, they were not.
Queasy, Cheesy, Wheezy, Peasy, Lemon, Squeezy.
No, they were not.
You can just imagine them all sat around the table going, what we doing?
Like, is it something they came up with like 10 minutes before? They were like, right, we've got to figure some names.
I don't think this was. Like, this seems like it's too structured to have just come up with it in a second. Dink with so Dink obviously had the ring experience of being with Doink, takes a lot of control in the ring with the suplex and the big stomps and the axe handle and the crossbody. Dink goes to pin one of the Little Kings. Sorry, I didn't learn the names of the Little Kings, and I don't think Vince McMahon helped me very much on commentary.
Yeah, Vince did not.
No,
care for
he
this.
didn't.
Well, I think he cared for the entertainment value, probably not the performance.
Yeah. But Jerry distracts the ref whilst one of the Little Kings help and reverse it and end of the match. It's end of the match. Clean sweep for the Kings. This is the first clean sweep since years ago. It's a rare thing. And here it is. The built up that moment for this match. Once in a lifetime. As the three Kings celebrate in the ring, Jerry tells them to put their hands down and show their appreciation by kissing his feet. He calls for the music, and again they celebrate, pushing in the corner this time. They come up behind him with their arms up and then do it again outside the ring. Sort of the idea is the King gets angry, so then he chases them around the ring. The three Kings stop, and then the three clowns get in the ring. So during this match, the three clowns, as they've been leaving, have all slid under the mat, and then they all sort of surround King, all six of these little people. And then chase him and try to bite his bum or whatever they do. He gets up the ramp, and behind him is waiting Doink with a custard pie in the face. Bloom! And
that was the best sound effect.
Bloom! Yeah.
I feel like we should make that a prediction thing where, like, I'll buy a pie to put in your face. What have we done? What have we realised? You've realised something, haven't you?
It was Doink that pied Kevin Owens. Do you know in the 4th of July thing when nobody knows who pied Kevin Owens?
Oh, yeah.
It was Doink.
Yeah, that's still a thing, isn't it? That's still a thing.
It was Doink. Classic. Vince McMahon calls it. He even calls it Benny Hill music. Benny Hill, yeah. Benny Hill music at one point, which was quite funny. As he gets to the top of the ramp, Doink is behind him, pie in the face. What's your favourite comedy match of all time, though? There's a really good one that I remember watching a couple of years ago, and I think it was when they was doing that Saturday daytime TV show with WWE, and it was Daniel Bryan versus someone like Santino Marella, and they end up on like mini bicycles chasing it. Do you know? Was it Santino Marella?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I liked Crybaby match between, and it wasn't really meant to be a comedy, between Razor and 1-2-3 Kid. That was pretty fun.
I haven't seen that one. Is that
more,
Raw?
In more recent times, no, it was in your house. There was in your house paper.
Oh, we'll be getting to that next year.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was the most recent one, but it was coming up.
No.
When 1-2-3 Kid joins the $1 Million Corporation. But
what a heel!
Yeah, there was one recent one. I think one thing the grossest thing I've ever seen that was funny to people, but probably wasn't meant to be, was Tommy Dreamer versus the Undertaker, and it was a gimmick that Tommy Dreamer was given, presumably by Vince McMahon, where he would go out when he wasn't, championing ECW, when they were trying to think of something for him to do. Then he did gross things. He came out to the ring and did gross stuff.
Okay.
He vomited and then ate his own puke and things like that. Not that you've ever done that. And there's a moment where Undertaker's in the ring and Tommy Dreamer comes out to confront him. And Undertaker, this is badass.
Go on. Don't matter.
The American Bad Bottom, which is actually his gimmick, was American Bad Bottom.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to say that.
No, we're not allowed to say it.
Apparently.
Sorry. The American Bad Bottom. He's like, hey boy, you like to do gross things, don't you? That's my Undertaker voice.
Hey boy. Hey boy.
Hey boy. I want you to take this chewing. What do you call it? Chewing tobacco. No,
chewing tobacco, right?
Stuff you spit.
Yeah, chewing tobacco.
And I want you to eat it. And if you eat it, then I'll give you a shot.
So he spat out.
I'll give you the shot of the world title. There's chewing tobacco. He spat it out. Tommy Dreamer ate it.
Oh.
And they got a title match later on that night against the Undertaker, and then kicked the Undertaker into a pre-ready bucket of vomit.
Oh, it's gross, man. Yeah. It's gross.
It's the grossest thing I've ever seen on mainstream TV.
Yeah. Cool. We see a video of Alundra Blaze losing the title to Bull Nakano at the Tokyo Egg Dome. That's just the Tokyo Dome, isn't it? I don't know why they call it the Tokyo Egg Dome. Do they still call it the Tokyo Egg Dome?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. It's always Tokyo Dome.
Tokyo Dome,
yeah. Massive ramp. Alundra Blaze enters on a motorcycle, and then there's an interview with Nakano, who only talks Japanese, and what's his name? The sprightly interviewer. Sean Mooney. He ended up going, oh, well, yes, this has been fun. Sprightly. Good word. Yeah, I mean, it's just pointless, really. But it was good to see the Tokyo Dome, man, back then. Submission match for the Heavyweight Championship next. Not your normal submission match. The rules of this match make no sense.
Throwing in the towel, man.
You don't make the
I think we've
decision
seen it.
to
I don't
quit.
think we've seen since. I don't think we've seen him throw in the towel since.
You haven't seen
NXT.
someone go to... Oh, yeah, NXT. Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it since... I mean, I'd be interested. There must have been one.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen a towel throwing conclude a match since this.
Isn't it interesting?
Since NXT.
You've got the sort of...
You had the... just to clarify, if people haven't seen it, the Mustache Mountain. It was...
Against Undisputed Era.
Yeah, against Undisputed Era.
Trent,
and it was Trent Seven in the ring, but Tyler Bate through the
towel. Isn't it funny? Like, we've talked a lot recently about Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano and comparing them to the sort of feud that Owen and Bret had. Mm-hmm. Isn't it interesting that they brought back the towel thing as well, which is from the same era on NXT? You reckon someone from Creative is watching 94, 95 and going...
Maybe they're watching the Gimme a Hug Wrestling podcast.
Maybe. And if not, why not?
And they're anticipating these episodes, and they're waiting by their computers to wait for the next
to figure it out. They're on to us. So next up, we're getting a casket match with Heavy Machinery.
Yeah, or another WLC.
WLC.
Which was brilliant.
Right. What was a WLC?
You should go back and watch the WLC. All you need to know is it had 3MB and Hornswoggle in it.
Right, okay. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So Bob Backlund comes in with the hat. Versus Bret Hart and the British Bulldog.
Bulldog's in his corner.
Yes, Bulldog's in Bret Hart's corner and Owens in Backlund's. Bob Backlund, so he was claiming that he never really lost the title in 1983 after his manager threw in the towel. So there's another example of a towel throwing that happened. And that was for the title. He was held in a camel clutch, which nobody tapped out until Hogan, wasn't it? Obviously, the Iron Sheik was who he was against. Here's the really weird stipulation on the match. So the only way for one of Bret or Bob to win is for Bulldog or Owen to throw in the towel, which just doesn't really make sense, does it?
It's odd.
It's a weird stipulation.
It's a bit like, it's got to be down to you, you know what I mean? Obviously it's sports entertainment, but like it's got to be down to the person themselves, because it's a bit like if I was wrestling someone and you were in my corner.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to embarrass myself in front of you. I'd just be like, don't throw in the towel. I'd rather be injured.
Yeah.
Because your mate's there.
I mean,
your mate's there. You don't want to be like, oh mate, throw in the towel for me, will you?
I liked it when it happened with Mustache Mountain because I was like, that's a really new, interesting way to. It's not new, obviously. Backlund '83, this one, but it was a refreshing change, I suppose, and it brings about the care for each other that they've got, But they won't necessarily care here. Owen didn't care about Bob, and Bulldog obviously did about Bret, but it was a bit weird. So I think it was just an explanation to get Owen and Bulldog there to sort of carry on the Owen thing.
Yeah.
More than anything with Bulldog. We've recently seen it. I've just written that. So people really hate Bob Backlund at this point, like really booing him. Obviously, he's against Bret. Hart starts off before the bell with a slam and a couple of hip tosses as Backlund rolls out of the ring and makes some really, really corny noises. Whoa!
He's very oral, isn't he? He's very he makes a lot of weird sounds.
Yeah, he does, man. He does.
When I said that, I mean like AU.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, not
AU. AU like gold.
Oral.
Oh right, you mean like an aura?
There's an oral.
Yeah.
As in like.
I don't do spelling. Like you've seen me do on Facebook. 79%. Right. This is a really weird fact, right? And I think this is completely made up. So Vince McMahon says that there's been a poll that people could vote in. I'm guessing that part is true. And he gives the result of 79% of the people that voted in the poll, which is a premium core number. Let's make some money. Think that the cross-faced chicken wing, it was good. Thinks that the cross-faced chicken wing is more devastating than the sharpshooter.
It looked I still maintain this, even though this match is not what I remember it being in terms of its. I think it was just because I was a kid at the time, but. It's just, it does look devastating. It does look painful.
You can't.
And I would rather be in the sharpshooter than I would be in the.
But you can't tell me that at this time, the way the sharpshooter was sold, that 79% of people would have said the crossface chicken wing. I just don't think it happened. I just think it was a made-up statistic. People loved the sharpshooter, and people were behind Bret.
Don't be silly, Anthony. The WWE never make anything up.
No, they don't. Of course they don't. The matches, quite a lot of headlocks early on especially on Backlund. Backlund keeps going for the crossface chicken wing early on, doing the sort of, I'm coming behind you. Oh!
Yeah. Did you notice the weird sounds? He sounds a bit like Mankind when he first comes out.
I didn't notice
that. He makes he just makes these weird squeaks, like, when he's like, Mankind used to do.
Yeah.
It reminded me very much a lot of that, like he's a bit mental.
The original Mankind, Bob Backlund.
I reckon I'd like to interview. I have interviewed Mick Foley. I should have asked him if he took anything from
Bob Backlund. Should have. Next time, Dom. Bret goes for a pin at one point, which I suppose sets up the idea that pins don't count, so I get it. Backlund gets Hart into an armbar, but Hart flips out. Bret gets knocked to the outside and starts arguing with Owen as Backlund is approaching. And he ducks out of the way and gets out of the way. Yeah, he misses.
I do think it's a little weird. It's a bit like he's like a plodding monster trying to get you, but he's so terrible at it that you always know he's coming. It's like... He did it a few times when he came back with Darren Young for a bit, didn't he? I think he did it a couple of times.
And that never sort of properly ended, did it? No, he... this is funny. So at this point in the match, there was a dude in the front row just yawning. I was like, that's how I feel, man. That's how I feel. Again, it's just a lot of headlocks. It's not really wrestling,
looking back at this, like, it's not nearly what I wanted. Well,
the end of the match gets better.
Yeah.
It does. When Bret gets an inverted atomic drop, he goes for the sharpshooter, but Backlund keeps pushing him off the ropes. Bret keeps pulling him back. And eventually, Bret locks in a figure 4. Match starts to get a little bit more interesting now as Owen sells, will he throw the towel? Will I throw the towel for the figure 4? He says, no, the towel is staying there. Owen added a lot to this match, man.
Definitely. It wouldn't have been salvageable.
Anything.
Wouldn't have been salvageable without Owen and the Bulldog too.
Bulldog takes a really good-looking bump, a really good-looking bump. So the match starts to get a little bit more interesting there. He reverses it, and Owen starts bouncing around. It's great, actually. It's, yeah!
He's doing his... He did this... He did
proper
this
bouncing.
Yeah, he did it really well in later years as well.
Yeah.
He used to do this thing, like, he'd be like the early yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the early yes chants, but with his fists.
Yeah, great. Owen is incredible, man. I'm gaining such respect for Owen.
Yeah.
Then he starts telling, because obviously this is reverse, so Backlund's winning at this point. He starts shouting at Bulldog to throw the towel, but Bulldog isn't going to do it, and he's jumping around still. It's really funny. Bret focuses on Backlund's leg for a bit as Backlund starts limping around, trying to stand up. It was way overselling by Backlund. Backlund eventually delivers a pile driver to Bret and gets the cross-face chicken wing on, but Bret is already at the ropes, so it's broken. A really awful looking neck breaker delivered by Backlund, which just like he doesn't even have hold of Bret's head. It's just really sloppy. And then more trying to get submissions.
I do wonder
but
why.
breaking them up.
I mean, it's sometimes
it's the emotion of the match, man.
Bob Backlund he's an entertaining guy, more entertaining in the early days of his career. Sometimes I wonder why he was here and what his purpose was.
Well, I've got a good question for you at the end of this match.
Because he loses to Diesel.
3 days later. Yeah,
3 days later.
Yeah.
It's just like. Every time they bring him back, I'm like, why are you doing this to this poor man?
Yeah.
He's brilliant. He was brilliant in his day, and he's a very entertaining guy, but you have to give him something to work with,
Yeah, and I agree completely. I just think the style of wrestling has moved on so much from what Backlund was doing in sort of the 83 because Backlund had a massive heavyweight championship run. And so I'll ask at the end who you'd swap it out for, so get thinking about that. It isn't until Bret delivers a really nice looking pile driver, a bulldog and a backbreaker before dropping an elbow and again locking in the sharpshooter, pulling Backlund off the rope, which looked great. Owen goes to interfere, but Bulldog chases him. It's during this confusion while the ref is trying to stop Bulldog from being in the ring that Owen sneakily delivers his bulldog.
Nice bulldog,
really nice bulldog to Bret whilst the sharpshooter's locked in. So Backlund's back in it. Bulldog chases Owen again, but Owen trips him up and sends the top of Bulldog's head into the ring steps. And it didn't, but it looks like he could legitimately be out for the next 15 minutes, which he sort of is. I thought it was great.
It looked like a big deal.
Yeah, because it could have done that. Can you imagine if they'd just done like a turnbuckle knock and it didn't look as brutal as that, and he was out for 15 minutes? You'd be like, what? But no, that was really good. I was really impressed with Bulldog in that. I know it's a silly little thing, but that's awesome. Owen almost shows a conscience here at this point that he didn't mean to.
Period was
this is great. This is the best thing. Whilst Bret swears at Owen for hurting Bulldog, Backlund managed to lock in his cross-face chicken wing. So we've got we've got Owen going, I didn't mean to, Bulldog, he's really hurt, we need help, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, Bulldog is down, so he can't submit for Bret, which is where the story comes out. Owen's calling out that he's so sorry, Bret. I'm sorry, Bret. I'm sorry. Showing his concern all the time. He tries waking Bulldog up, but nothing. And from a production point of view here, they split the screen into 2 screens, and it's pretty neat. And so we get to see a lot of Owen in this sort of important storyline, because what's happening in the ring is actually really nothing,
Just basically the crossface chicken.
It's 10 minutes locked in. Yeah, it is. Hart keeps threatening to get out, but it doesn't really happen. And again, Owen's crying for his brother. He had tears. Amazing. Owen goes to his mum and dad. I didn't mean for this to happen. You've got to do something. You have to throw in the towel. Bret is tapping, but obviously that means nothing at this point. That's my brother. That's my brother. That's great. Hilarious.
Brilliant. I think it's one of the greatest displays of villainy in WWE history.
It is.
One of.
I have a problem with it as well, though. But I'll get into that at the end. Of course I've got a problem with it. I've always got a problem with the good things. He starts pleading with his mum and dad, please do something. Owen moves the barricade for his mum and dad to come in and gives him the towel to his mum. Stu steals it off her. Helen does a really good job of selling the confusion, actually. She looks like, I don't know what to do. Is it? She did a really good job. I enjoyed it. Whilst Hart starts getting dragged around, I guess that is. Helen grabs the towel and throws it into the ring since the crossface chicken wing was locked in. It took us 10 minutes to get to that point. But actually, that is the entertaining part of the match. That's the bit you remember.
Yeah.
It's not the wrestling. The wrestling
That's
is
true. Yeah.
poor.
I remember.
But
I remember the pile driver oddly and the bulldog.
Yeah, the good
the
pile driver.
Owens bulldog,
yeah.
and also the pile driver from Bret.
It was a nice looking pile driver, man. It was a nice looking pile driver. So at this point, Owen runs down the ramp with his arm raised, and that's how he sort of gets in the ring real quickly. Arm raised as he runs out the ramp. The only thing I'd say here is I would have wanted Owen to have done a little bit more. We get a promo later on where he's happy, but I would have liked to have seen it at ringside where his mum throws a towel in and straight away he does that bouncing up in it. Do you know what I mean? Just a little bit more sort of happiness instead of running to the back like that sort of, I did it, I fooled you into believing that I cared. I don't give a flying monkeys. Yeah, new heavyweight champion, Bob Backlund. A really weird choice, this. So, Backlund is the heavyweight champion, and we're in the new generation. Backlund wasn't a new generation champion. 3 days. And you've also got WCW, who have, like, Hogan, and I think Macho might have been in it, just about to join. It's weird to go with Backlund, isn't it? Transitional champion. Who would you have gone with instead of Backlund?
I'd have probably gone with Luger over Backlund. But I hate Luger.
No.
I hate Luger.
I couldn't have seen that. Luger's face as well, wasn't he? Who would I have gone for? So we have the $1 Million Corporation going on. I would have had Bam Bam there, and this would have been his 3-day title reign, but that's fine, you know. It would have been good to give Bam Bam. It would have been believable. I think the problem with Bam Bam is he doesn't have a submission finisher, but again, in the $1 Million Corporation, give him the $1 Million Dream, you know, until that's what I would have done, I think, or perhaps even IRS at sort of a push.
Yeah.
It's transitional, it doesn't really matter. I think it would have been better than Backlund though.
Yeah, but it's still on your record, isn't it? It's still a thing. It still counts.
No, I think Bam Bam would have been great here, actually. You agree?
No.
No, who would you have had?
Backlund's better than Bam Bam still.
Yeah. You want to think about it a little more while we carry on?
I think if I was going to pick anyone, I'd pick Luger as a transitional champion, someone not to keep it.
Okay.
Because I didn't like. Obviously, we know neither of us rate Luger.
No.
But I think he didn't have a submission finish either.
No.
So someone with a submission finish.
And you want a heel? That's the problem.
Someone with a submission finish.
A heel with a submission finish. It's a hard one.
At this time, at this time.
Maybe Jerry the King Lawler.
He didn't have a submission finish either.
Figure 4, wasn't he? Didn't he do the figure 4 quite a lot?
I don't think so.
Ric Flair. That would have been cool. Bring Ric Flair in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I don't think he would have said yes to it.
Who knows? Who knows? No, he was quite happy. I think this was a sort of Hogan, Ric Flair, WCW time, so he'll be making the monies. An interview with Owen, smiling. It was the plan all along. He's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. So obviously, I think it was 3 days. The stories
around.
I've heard so many different people say like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days.
It was a house show, and he lost to Diesel.
It was at Madison Square Garden. Yes. A nice interview with Gorilla and Vince. Oh, that's what, because I'd say Bam Bam and then put IRS in the next match. A nice interview with Gorilla and Vince, who can't believe what they've seen, and they do a really good job of selling the emotion. They're sort of choked up like, I can't believe someone just did that to the mum and dad. That's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. Quite like that. So next match we have Guts and Glory, Adam Bomb, Bart Gunn, Billy Gunn, Lex Luger and Mabel, the Guts and Glory versus the $1 Million Team, Bam Bam, Jimmy Del Rey, Tom Pritchard, Tatanka and King Kong Bundy returning. Surprise no Cornette with the Heavenly Bodies, but I suppose it was more focused on WWE at this point. I don't know, it was weird. A return for Bundy here. Big deal at WWF at one point. Headlining WrestleMania 2 with the mighty Hulk Hogan. Hogan. He went into retirement in 1988, but is back now, and we have a really wonderful Undertaker match to look forward to at WrestleMania. Oh, if you're enjoying the podcast, That's it. Hit that thumbs up button.
That's like button.
Let us know what you think, man. Oh, there's a
Share.
question. Who should Bret Hart have faced if it wasn't Bob Backlund? Or do you think Bob Backlund was the right person?
As a transitional champion.
Yeah, man. It'd be interesting to hear your opinions. And let us know on Facebook as well. You know, Twitter. We got that. We've got a Redbubble store as well.
Yeah, we got Redbubble.
Oh, man.
We got things.
We got things and stuff and rock and roll.
And all the stuff and the things.
So, Luger and Tatanka start off. Oh, God, this match is awful. This is an awful match.
Yes, it is.
I'll blast through it. Luger and Tatanka start off with Tatanka going for an early cheap shot. Obviously, these two fought at SummerSlam. What did you think of that match, Dom?
Meh.
It was a good heel turn.
Tatanka was, like I say, it was the best thing to ever happen to Tatanka.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, this was pretty much the same as every other one of the matches that Tatanka and Luger had. A couple of chops, Tatanka doing most of the work. I have no idea what they saw in Luger. Like, he doesn't work, man. We've seen it all before, and it hasn't got any better. Let's be honest. Eventually, the Heavenly Bodies come in. Luger deals with them with ease. He even throws one at Bam Bam. Luger, USA. Bundy comes in at this point and is met by Mabel, so we get that sort of threat of these two massive guys going on. It was cool little moment. Mabel ends up against Pritchard. Mabel gets a second turnbuckle crossbody. Mabel hitting you with a crossbody from the second turnbuckle. That's a pin.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Pritchard. Jimmy Del Rey comes in and gets a massive rock bottom. A massive rock bottom from Mabel. What do they call that? Gutbuster? Gut slam?
The Gutbuster's the one. The Gutbuster's the one where you drop them onto your knee, but it's called a gut slam, isn't it? Here.
I don't know. When it's not a rock bottom, what's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, I'll have a look on 2K19 when I create a character. Add more makeup to my man.
What would be called the rock bottom on 2K19?
No, there's the move has been around for way before the Rock, and it's not called the rock bottom, but I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, Mabel does it. It's cool. Yeah, he don't get out of that. He does get out of it. He tags in Bundy. What am I on about? So Mabel versus Bundy, two big guys in the ring. Obviously, they can't move each other. We have the whole sort of running back and forth along the ropes to the immovable object. Can you imagine? Do you know if Mabel and Yokozuna did much together?
I'm sure they did something.
Something like on Raw.
I think I'm trying to think when and how it happened.
I'm surprised. Did they do a tag team on Men in a Mission and Yokozuna and Bret Hart? That'd be interesting to know. If they do, I'm looking forward to it. Because obviously two massive guys. Like seeing him with Bundy was interesting because a massive guy, again, not as massive as Yokozuna though.
Oh yeah, your internet's out, isn't it?
It is, yes, sorry dude.
Oh you go, my research is down today.
No.
I will find out, we'll post it in the comments.
Thanks, dude. He makes a tag to King on Bundy, blah blah blah. Mabel ends up against Bam Bam. Mabel climbs to the top turnbuckle, but Bam Bam slams him off. Bam Bam then goes for a sunset flip on Mabel, holding him. The big man isn't coming down. He does that, and then he teabags Bam Bam. That's a big teabag, man.
That is a big teabag.
That's a big teabag, man.
Huh?
It's a big teabag.
Were you thinking about it then?
I was. Yeah.
You got very excited. Ooh.
That wasn't excitement. That was fear.
Is that really your fear?
That's my fear voice.
I don't know. I've heard that before.
Sometimes my girlfriend says, "Come to the bedroom," and I go, "Oh."
Oh, Sarah's gonna love you for that.
Yeah, she don't watch this
on YouTube forever.
Both men end up going over the top rope. Mabel can't make it in time, getting himself counted out. Mabel's gone. Billy Gunn comes in for a second and then goes out.
Can we just say one of the best things about this match was the Smoking Guns mustaches?
I was thinking you're not going to talk about how good they were because they weren't good, but yeah, the mustaches were sweet. Yeah, I agree. Possibly
good tashes,
man. Good tashes. Then Adam Bomb versus Bam Bam. Where the heck is Adam Bomb been, man? I mean, he was a good guy. Like, why didn't they ever use him?
Yeah,
it's weird.
And a decent show in here.
Weird.
Actually, yeah.
So it's Adam Bomb versus Bam Bam. He does a really neat clothesline off the top rope, which was really cool. Bam Bam does a massive moonsault onto Adam Bomb for a quick pin. I mean, Adam Bomb was really cool, man.
I always loved that moonsault, though.
Oh, Bam Bam was... I mean, we're talking different leagues, aren't we? Yeah, Luger tries to take advantage of Bam Bam, and he ends up against Del Rey. He gets a really weak shoulder barge. Oh, I'm gonna hit you. Oh, I've got some metal in it. I'm gonna hit you. Oh, I'm gonna hit you. Gets the pin. Luger. The Guns attack Tatanka with a quick series of pins. The crowd really didn't seem interested in the Guns at this point, or the match, or the pay-per-view, or anything.
Nope.
Eventually, they get a smoking gun, their finisher, and it still doesn't put away Tatanka. It probably should have done. I think that would have been a good call to have had that.
Yeah, it would have worked better.
Tatanka does a weird back slam on Bart Gunn and pins him. Luger ends up against Tatanka, who's been in there forever. They do nothing with the match whatsoever, just basic wrestling moves and pin attempts and nothing interesting.
Nah.
Really boring. Eventually Bundy gets in against Billy Gunn. He misses an elbow, but then hits an avalanche in the corner, and actually hitting an elbow, he pins Billy Gunn. Yay, let's build up Bundy a little bit. Good. Will Luger be able to overcome the odds and put on a decent match? See what I did there? You thought I was going to say and beat the heels, but no. Is he going to put on a good match? No. Luger can beat everyone off with his metal elbow, blah, blah, blah. And after a few elbows, he runs out of moves, and then lets all the other three do the work.
It's pretty much the story of Lex Luger, isn't it?
Yeah. He kicks out of a Bundy elbow. No, you don't do that. Tatanka's power slam. No, you don't do that. Just everything. He kicks out of everything. USA. It just goes on forever.
Just a visual. You know how you described it, even though it's not how it happened, but it would have been great if he'd just poked his elbow out and everyone had been like...
Yeah, like when the Undertaker, what does the Undertaker do at the start of the next match? Oh, when he when he points at the coffin and Yokozuna falls over.
Yeah.
It's great. He eventually gets a really weird pin where it's basically between Tanka's legs. It looked like he was mounting Tatanka, I think is the safest way to put it. It was not a good looking pin, no. One leg is sort of between Tatanka's other leg, and he's sort of thrusting up to get the pin on him. Oh, Luger. We'll see you in WCW soon, mate.
The Luger scissor.
We ain't got long left. He was in for another year. He has a tag team with the Bulldog, don't they, coming up?
Oh yeah, the Allied Powers.
I'm sure that's going to be great.
Even the British Bulldog
can't save Luger.
Save him.
Yeah, he eventually gets the weird pin, and then Tatanka Bundy quickly comes in and gets a splash, which ends up pinning Luger. I didn't see the point in it going on this long. The three, right? This is it, right? So we're going to add some story to it about the $1 Million Corporation. So they all come back and continue to beat Luger. They all come out, and then the USA team come and beat them off. Right, USA. Right, so this sort of thing works sometimes, right? Just feels like so lazy. So, it didn't do anything. And Luger's feud with the $1 Million Corporation didn't carry on because they moved on to Undertaker, which is where we get Bundy and Undertaker at WrestleMania next year. I mean, come on, man.
It's over the top, and it's kind of ridiculous.
An interview with Backlund, who says that he never lost the belt. It's sports education, not sports entertainment. Sports education.
Oh, Bob.
He'll fight anyone. Your generation now has someone to look up to. Yeah, I mean, I still don't feel like this is moving forwards. I still feel this is looking backwards. I get it.
It's a good moment for Bob. It's a good moment for Bob's career. This pay-per-view.
Yeah, because we never saw him at sort of pay-per-views in WWF, did we? Because he was sort of past that time when we see him in the '93 Rumble.
He wasn't. He wasn't at his best at this time or any other time. To be,
I know he was good earlier on. I mean, he put on some good matches earlier on. I've watched a couple of his really early stuff with like Iron Sheik and stuff, and for them sort of, take into account the style. There's no sort of high and cross body backflips.
Yeah, it's more cross-face chicken wing.
Yeah. But he did a good job. He was a real babyface champion, a serious babyface. Casket match.
He was very much in a similar vein. They build him in a very similar vein to Dusty Rhodes, where he was like the underdog, wasn't he? He was the underdog, and the man's man, not the man's man. That's William Regal when he first comes in. But he was the the archetypal kind of work. He was a working lad.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Well, he was intelligent.
Yeah.
He was very intelligent.
Young lad, yeah. I always thought he looked young for his age as well. I think he was 45 here, and I think he looks really young still. Yeah, he was quite old. That might not be exactly right, but you think he had the championship in '83, and that was for a couple of years. He's got is it the third longest title run of all time?
He's up there, isn't he?
I think it's San Martino, and it's either Backlund or Hogan, and then one. Yeah, man. Yeah. Casket match next with Yokozuna with Cornette and Fuji versus Undertaker with Mr. Bearer. Special guest referee in this match is Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris.
Oh man, this is the only good thing about this whole thing. The fireworks and man.
Yeah, they made a real spectacle, deal. Man.
They made a big deal out of Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris was a big deal. You know what? He's more than just a meme,
and not just like a big deal in America, but this is a Texas pay-per-view, and that is the Texas Ranger. You know, the crowd it was the biggest pop of the night, I'd say, probably for Chuck Norris. Absolutely. Definitely.
He had a decent go in this match as well.
Yeah,
he was very suited. He was very suited to sports entertainment. You know, some of the guests.
Oh, he was.
Some of the guests
he had a
were
great stare. Yeah.
Some of the guests were just like, "What's going on? Why are you even here?" Whereas Chuck Norris, he had a point.
He did. Paul Bearer, lookalike in the crowd. I love that, man. It's great seeing. It's amazing how over Paul Bearer was, and how much he helps with the Undertaker.
Such a weirdo.
Yeah, and people love getting dressed up for wrestling events, don't they?
Everyone loves a weirdo, man.
You'd make a really good Paul Bearer. Like if you got dressed up. I think next Halloween we'll do a podcast and I'll dress up as the Undertaker and you can dress up as Paul Bearer.
That'd be really fun, actually.
That'd be really fun, wouldn't it?
Shall we do that? I think
man. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. We need to get you an urn. The video screen shows images of a graveyard, right? So this is quite interesting. Yokozuna comes out to his normal sort of thing. Through the WrestleMania 10 entrance ramp again. The hexagon, I think we called it. So the video screen then splits apart instead. It's the first time that we've seen it do that, which is pretty neat. A special entrance for the Undertaker. And we get the Undertaker stood there with all the lights of smoke. And it's a really nice, sharp silhouette. Really neat. Paul Bearer comes out and he's got his casket is extra wide, double size.
With the cool logo. We don't see that very often, do we? The logo.
The logo. No, you don't, man. So finally tonight, Undertaker can get revenge for his 94 Rumble match. He points at Yokozuna across the ring, crosses his neck, and then points at the casket. And it sends Yokozuna back. It's really strong as a visual image, actually. It's great. It's really good. Even Yokozuna falling back, it shows the fear.
It's like a dream. And I think even at this point, people knew how special The Undertaker was in terms of a character. And how much gravitas you could give somebody's career, because you definitely put on your A game for an Undertaker match, and you could see that Yoko was definitely, he was pardon the phrase, he was pulling his weight. He was really making it work, selling the fear.
I mean, I'm going to say something awful. Yoko was doing great at selling the fear in the same way that Kamala did, and all the greats that came before. Whoa! I'll never forget that one. The one thing I will say about The Undertaker is, although he was massive at this time, and certainly his storylines on Raw were more interesting, I'd say, because there was a lot of storyline with them and stuff, I can't really think of a good pay-per-view Undertaker match that we've watched so far up to this point. They've not been great, man. Yeah. I mean, it gets great later on, especially with the guys that he's working with. But in terms of, in general, I mean, this match is okay, but it's nothing, Yeah. Yokozuna ends up on top of the casket, trying to get away from the Undertaker. Undertaker goes for old school, but soon after, whilst going for a clothesline, Yokozuna quickly grabs him for a Samoan drop. He goes to push him into the casket, but Taker sits up and uses the rope to send Yokozuna down. After keeping Undertaker down with a leg drop, he manages to get Undertaker into the casket, but he holds the casket open as he's closing it, which is quite cool, and drags Yokozuna's feet into it. Fuji then interferes.
I like that moment. I like the choke as well later on.
Man. Yeah. I do like his choke. I like his moveset. I think that was what was really intriguing about Undertaker.
The DDT does here, and also I love it when he.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know if he does it still.
Yokozuna really sells an awesome DDT for Undertaker. He's done it a few times. He really does. Yeah. So Fuji gets involved at this point. Undertaker gets out of the casket to chase down Fuji. Fuji Never really took any bumps at this point, did he? Instead, Cornette comes behind him and gets a punch to the old face and ends up selling it like well over the top, dazed out. Oh, it's quite funny. It's quite good. Go on, Cornette, taking a bump. Yeah. It gets a bit slow as Yokozuna stops Undertaker getting into the ring. I didn't really see the point in that match. Like that part of the match, it really slowed things down. Eventually, Undertaker slams his head down into the mat before an awesome clothesline in the top 10. So he just grabs his head and just slams it down. It was really cool. The whole thing about the Undertaker was that power in the hand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, that's where the chokeslam comes into it. No chokeslams in this, unfortunately. And I was really surprised to see no tombstone in this match.
Were you?
I'm really surprised. Undertaker rolls the big man into the casket, and then King Kong Bundy comes down, joined by Bam Bam a bit later on, and they're both met by Chuck Norris.
He's like, nah, mate. Nah.
Just try it. They disappear. Death stare. Whilst this is happening, IRS comes in and uses a distraction to attack the Undertaker.
Yeah.
So again, we're getting into the Undertaker and $1 Million Corporation feud, which all of these were a part of. IRS puts a sleeper on the Undertaker and throws him into a casket. It was that easy. It was just an IRS sleeper that kills the Undertaker. Yokozuna reaches over to shut the casket, but is met by Undertaker's hand around his throat. It was cool, wasn't it, man? It was cool. Jeff Jarrett comes down.
I wasn't going to try and choke you.
No, I enjoyed it. Jeff Jarrett comes down and is met by Chuck Norris, who kicks him, and then Jeff Jarrett runs away. And then there's an amazing DDT from Undertaker onto Yokozuna, and he gets Yokozuna into the casket. Yeah. Grabs Fuji's flag before he closes it, breaks it, and then closes the casket. It's nothing special. I mean, there's a couple of really good...
Again, it's good for that whole, even though obviously Yokozuna is not from Japan, like it's good for the whole USA thing. And there's a few chances of that.
It. So, how many stars
2 stars.
are you giving this? I'd say 2 stars. It wasn't the best, was it? Best performer.
Ooh, I'm tempted to say Owen for his theatrics.
Yeah.
Not even being in the ring.
Yeah.
As a performer, as an actual in-ring performer... This is tough, man. This is real tough. Bulldog, as in, if I had to pick an in-ring...
Did he do that much? I mean, he did a bit against Owen in the first match.
I'm not even going to give it to... I didn't even... it's not even...
Do you know who I'm giving it to? I wrote down? Owen Hart, man.
Yeah, I'm saying...
it was great. He made it entertaining.
Yeah, I'd say Owen too. Yeah.
From a poor match. I mean, there is some really poor matches in this card. Yeah. Especially that Lex Luger one is just... rubbish, baby. Best match? Right, so in this hand we have a urinal cake, and in this hand we have a... Give me something else gross.
A bucket of puke.
From Tommy Dreamer. Which is your best?
Oh, God.
No, I mean, I think... Go on.
I'm just going to have to say the Backlund.
Yeah,
again.
I'm going to have to say Backlund.
Bret gives the best of a bad bunch.
But that's not even... The in-ring work is awful, actually, if you go back and... If you actually watch the in-ring work, it is all Owen. And that's why he gets best performer. Again, man. Again.
Yeah. We should rank these up, actually, at this time and see who gets the most.
We don't need to rank them up. We just need to go back and watch all of the videos, which are in the Wrestling Rewind series. Watch us on YouTube. Yes. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and like. You see how I linked all that up? That was good.
Nicely done.
Thanks, man. Thanks for joining us. We've had a great time. Sorry, we're tired and we're sort of getting through this tonight. But I hope you've enjoyed the episode.
We didn't have the inspiration of... We've not had quite so much inspiration this pay-per-view, but we did have Owen Hart's tears.
We did.
Of joy.
Of love, baby.
Yeah,
hope you've enjoyed it.
It was a beautiful moment, yeah. Keep it gay. We'll see you soon.